started early one morning months ago. The way all your mornings start. You do the same thing so long, over and over. You get to think that the passage of time is progress. The routine gets smoother and smoother. The water boils. The toast pops. And your car ride beeps on time. But at 30 miles an hour on the fine public road, sometimes you wonder where you're going. Besides to school and your class and the teaching that you've done for 12 years. Even a good teacher gets into a rut and stops learning for a while. Once in a while, perhaps, a bright-eyed kid has brought you back to your own inquisitive youth and the fun of learning. But not often, and not lately. You wonder if maybe you're shortchanging these kids. Particularly when some questions bring you up short. Simple questions that you ought to know the answers to, but you don't. A simple thing. A boy who wants to know.
What is a labor union exactly, Miss Hartswick?
Questions.
What does it do?
And the same old general answers.
A voluntary association of wage earners organized to further and maintain their rights and interests through collective bargaining, especially to improve wages, hours, and conditions, and to secure for the worker a fair deal.
Questions.
When you read about the Senate committee, all those racketeers, does that mean all labor unions are corrupt?
And answers
AFL-CIO represents
that you're not at all sure of.
locals, and in such a large group, abuses are bound to crop up from time to time.
Questions, and sometimes
What is a state labor body?
you just don't know an answer.
A state labor organization is, well, an organization of labor in the state. A state labor body is...
What's it do?
A boy who wants to know.
What is a state labor body?
What is it? You can refer him to the library, make a class project to find out, but you're bothered. It's something you want to know yourself. The whole question of labor is one that you've been getting piecemeal from the press. And a lot of what you know, perhaps, is misinformation. Maybe here's a good place to start. The state labor body. Find out for yourself. The first logical place is the library. The state AFL-CIO Constitution. Words, but words that blueprint why the organization exists.
To aid workers in securing improved wages, hours, and working conditions with due regard. To aid and assist affiliated organizations in extending the benefits of mutual assistance. To propose, support, and promote legislation. To promote the organization. To encourage the sale and use. To protect the labor movement from any and all corrupt and other symbols. To encourage and conduct an education program in cooperation with...
Words that describe how the state AFL-CIO is composed and how it operates.
Membership in the state AFL-CIO shall consist exclusively of such of the following organizations. Affiliated local unions in good standing shall be entitled to representation and votes in conventions. There shall consist of a president, executive vice president, and secretary.
A constitution is a beginning. But what does a state AFL-CIO look like in action? How does the individual union member feel its impact and its effects? Your next stop after a trip through town is right next door. Bill Dunlap, a neighbor who's a member of Local 383.
State AFL-CIO? Well, yeah. Yeah, our local's a member. I think we are. Yeah, that's right. Our union pays dues. 6? No, 7 cents a man a month. I think it's
It's easy to see that Bill
what is the state?
knows a lot less than you do.
It's a kind of organization in the state, I guess. I just joined the union. I don't pay much attention. We get a newspaper from them, but I don't know what else they do. You know how these organizations are. I just got in. I don't pay much attention.
Bill confirms something that you've heard before. There are people in unions who are there only because it seems a prerequisite to a job. He takes no active part. He keeps his ignorance in spite of the efforts of labor education to inform him. The state body is something he knows nothing about, but not all union members are Bill Dunlap. Jack Chase seems to be much more aware.
State labor body? Sure. No, individual union member, fellow like me. He knows we got a state AFL-CIO. Does a lot of things.
Jack knows at least those aspects of the state body which touch him directly.
There, political action. The voting records of the legislators. Just to make sure you vote on what the representatives have been doing. Not what they say in a campaign. Another thing, state AFL-CIO does a get-out-the-vote campaign. They do a lot of things you don't always know about, till you need something special. Then they seem to have a program that'll fit. Summer camp for kids, that's another state deal.
A summer camp for his kids, political action, information that reaches the individual union member, a campaign to get out the vote and keep elections healthy. The state body at work in a way that you can see. But the whole story is still a long way off. And when you get tired and sit down to rest, the old man beside you may have an idea that's well worth listening to.
Me? No, I'm not a member of anything anymore. You get old, nobody wants you. Oh, they want you, but they don't need you. So they kind of forget to bother you for your membership. I'm retired from almost everything, except thinking a little and talking. Him says preaching. All I do, he says, is preach. State AFL-CIO, I know what it is better than the young ones, because we didn't have a merged state body in my time. We could have used one. It's a way of getting things done, a modern way.
It's a way of getting things done, a modern way. But what does it get done? You drive to the city, and at the headquarters of the state AFL-CIO, you meet August Scholl, president of the organization. And he tells you about its programs, its achievements, and its problems.
Our state AFL-CIO labor bodies, as you can see by this chart, Lois, we're affiliated as a subordinate organization to the national organization, which establishes their policies in a national convention, and it's our duty to carry out those policies in that program to the best of our ability in each geographic political area.
You discover that every state in the Union has a state body or organization similar to the one you find in your own state.
Our job primarily is to carry on our educational work, to teach and train officers of local unions, to engage in legislation and political action work, and to carry on public relations work. We're interested in every kind of and type of social legislation that I think that you could possibly conceive of for the social welfare and the advancement of our people. Let's take some of the things, for instance, and name them: civil rights, equality at the ballot box, social welfare, unemployment insurance, workmen's compensation, and taking a specific thing, for instance, Fair Employment Practices Act. We lobbied in behalf of the Fair Employment Practices Act in this state for better than 20 years before we finally achieved that goal. Now that it's in effect, we're trying in every conceivable way that we can to help to effectuate it and make it more meaningful, in other words, morally, as well as having it a legal situation.
You are impressed by the AFL-CIO's twofold concern for its members and for society as a whole.
Finances, we're going to need the wherewithal to carry on this program. It's going to be essential and required that our people recognize the need for the kind of revenue that will fit the needs of meeting these kind of problems, of bringing knowledge to people, telling them why we're fighting for these laws, telling them why they're necessary, what causes us, in other words, to have these as desired objectives.
When you're ready to leave, Gus Scholl invites you to attend the state AFL-CIO's Institute for Teachers, and you agree to give it a try. But first, you talk to a member of the opposition. Larry Greer is an employer who can discuss labor without getting indigestion, though he pretends to prefer other topics.